Like everybody knew he was telling the truth, right? And then the walk it back. Well, that's where the real story is, right? The scandals and the cover up, right? Like who calls Derrick to say that he's wrong about the game that he plays for a living?
The next question that
welcome to the world, you guys. Welcome to the world. This is how it is. That's why I preface this video with the shadow ban talk. In this world, if you're too honest or too honest about certain things, you get punished, man. It's just how it is. It's so sad. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Hope y'all are having a good day so far. So I had this video sent to me in the member section. This was a little while ago, and I've been a little hesitant on reacting to this one. For those of you who know or don't know, back when I reacted to a certain video call between LeBron and Diddy, I got shadow banned for a while. I got punished by YouTube, and that was not a fun time until I got rid of it. So I don't want to get in too much trouble here. So let me just preface this with, first of all, this is a video that is bravely titled, "Is LeBron James on Steroids?" And this is from KipKame11. I have reacted to this channel before, and I'll just say to preface this video, hey, I don't have evidence. I'm just commenting on stuff. Everything in here is probably allegedly, unless it's like proven, points, but I'm just reacting to this. Don't shadow ban me, please, man. Anyways, guys, let's just get to it. I feel like I'm causing more trouble for myself on this intro than I need to. Let's get into this video, huh? I'm gonna link the original video down below in the description of this video, like I always do. So if you want to check out KipKame, the link is down below. You'll see a list of channel members, and shout out to you guys. I hope you all doing well. Crazy summer all around, it seems like, for a lot of people when it comes to Mother Nature. So I hope you guys are safe out there. For those of you dealing with smoke in the air, I hope you guys are breathing okay. And for us who are dealing with some crazy heat, I hope we're all staying cool. Guys, let's get right into this. Like the video if you could. Hype the video if you got any. I'd appreciate it. And without further ado,
up and away. Super washed, ain't he? Stay low and keep firing. The air up there is a tad bit different. Live, laugh, love. This is LeBron James's
live, laugh, love. Come on, dude. Are you a middle-aged woman's bathroom?
Instagram caption to a photo of him dunking against the Charlotte Hornets en route to a 27.9 assist game. It was his last game of his first season as a Laker, and he'd averaged 27.4 points.
Why he has hair all of a sudden? This is the same season?
8.3 assists.
By the end of the season, he was completely bald.
And 8.5 rebounds, with the second leading scorer being 21-year-old Brandon Ingram. And of course, this was 7 years ago.
Oh, this guy. I really like this guy's videos. All right, cool. This is great. I forgot. This is who Kip. This is Kip.
Infamous F tweet that somehow lost its.
LeBron is 30. This fuckery won't go on for much longer. Thank God. That was in 2015. That's how I felt. If anybody wonders why so many of us are like, just please retire, because we've been waiting for years and years and years for him to just retire already.
Relevance before LeBron lost his on the court, there weren't too many people putting LeBron, Ramon James, and the concept of washed together. However, the first questions of whether or not Father Time would defeat LeBron came in that first season with the Lakers, where he suffered his first major injury on Christmas Day in 2018. But since then, he's won a championship, averaged over 30 points a game in a season, played with his son on an NBA court, and is the first option on a playoff team at age 41. Is he on steroids?
That was not intentional, though. He was the first option because of injuries. The first two options were injured in the first round. But you're right. You're not wrong, Kip.
Find out this time.
It did happen.
KipKame11.
It did happen.
LeBron James is, as we all know, a genetic freak, an NBA caliber player by the age of 16. He's a 6'8", 250-pound behemoth that sometimes played at 280 pounds and had his max vertical clocked in at 44 inches in his prime. From a pure athleticism standpoint, there is nothing that another player in the NBA has, can, or will do that prime LeBron could not. But what might somehow be more impressive,
mid-range jump shot,
than his peak athleticism is how much of it he's been able to retain over the 2 decades that he's been in the league.
But to be fair to Kip, that has nothing to do with his athleticism. Like, he's an athletic freak. He always has been.
One of the most impressive feats in NBA history came at the age of 31 for him, which may not seem old now, but a decade ago is considered the start of the hashtag decline.
Yeah, around 35, most people would retire. Like that is considering, like that's considered job well done. That's a full career in the NBA, 35 years old. But as we know, it was a much more physical game. And, you couldn't not get back on defense, and, you couldn't take possessions off on defense. There was no load managing. Like there's a lot of factors. Also just the day-to-day, like each game, each play, the grind and physicality that's going on, all the bumping, all the bruising, all the elbows. That stuff has been all kind of cut down. So now you can play till 40 like most players. And if you're healthy, like LeBron is apparently healthy, you can keep playing until you're 42 or 43. Not that I think you should.
Only 3 All-Stars older than LeBron that season, which was 10 years ago, by the way. Dwayne Wade at 34, Pau Gasol at 35, and retirement tour Kobe Bryant. None of them known remotely at that point for the athleticism, naturally. It was evident also in the performance of his age mates. Yeah. Chris Paul.
I remember when Jordan, was in his mid-30s. That's when it was like, man, we were calling him old man, We were, that's why we transitioned to like footwork MJ. But anyways, that was a different time. That was over 20 years ago. And the idea was like, if you're 40, you can't be a 40. I mean, even though he did do it at 40, but most people can't do this at 40 years old. They're getting thrown on the ground and elbowed and shoved and pushed, like they were back then. So Jordan did it, but he limped through it with a ton of injuries between his rib and his knee.
Bosh and Carmelo Anthony. Bosh, due to medical reasons, played his last game in 2016. Melo had one more All-Star year before turning into a role player. Chris Paul is Chris Paul, but before his resurgence with OKC, he was considered a buyout candidate not remotely worth the max deal. LeBron, who at 41 could still command the max, obviously didn't have that problem. And if we're being honest here, LeBron James is the greatest player ever, based strictly off longevity. I mean, we're talking about a guy who came into the league as a teenager.
How old is he?
Well, that was a loaded statement, though. You said he's the greatest player ever, based strictly on longevity. So shouldn't we preface this different or say it different? Like, he's the longevity GOAT, or he's the longevity king, or we've never seen somebody with longevity like LeBron James. That doesn't make you the greatest of all time. That just means you've got the longevity. It's just one category, that's all.
12. He just turned 19 on the 30th of December.
Became a top 10 player in the world by the age of 20 and stayed as a top 10 player for 20 years after that. He holds the record for playoff games played, playoff wins, points, assists, and steals, regular season wins, points, and yes, more minutes played than anyone in NBA history.
Sorry, I always get defensive. I know what Kip's doing. I forgot the point of this video. So he's going to build up the portfolio, and then he's going to ask the question, how's he doing it?
Cares that he's gone 4-6 and Michael's gone 6-0. Who cares about the 2011 finals performance, which was 15 years ago, by the way? Who cares if MJ had the killer mentality? At the end of the day, Jordan could not do what LeBron has done, which then I think leads us pretty naturally into our next question. Is LeBron on steroids? Is there a singular person on this earth, seriously, who's lived, living now, and will live that could accomplish a 2-decade run like LeBron has? Weigh over 250 pounds and compete over 100 times a year at an average of 2 miles a game, running, dunking, getting contact in, pivoting, blocking against the world's best athletes? And even if they could, would that be all natural? Of course, we don't have the answer to this question.
No, what I will say is I know a lot of his fans. Hell, even Jimmy High Roller, but I don't know him personally. But I know personally a lot of his own fans. If I asked them point blank, dude, do you think he's on roids? Or is he on a performance enhancer? They all say like, yeah, but who cares? Like, it's instant defensive. So I'm just like, okay, so you don't care then. You're saying who cares? I'm asking, do you care that like your hero is cheating? And they don't. They really don't. And it's the same thing, with that Jimmy High Roller video that got removed a long time ago. I reacted to it. I think it's still on my channel here from the early days. At the end of the video, he was like, well, if he basically like, I gotta watch my words here, but like he basically like he put a ton of evidence on the plate that he is using these substances. And then at the end, he justified it by saying, well, in an era where we're all like addicted to superhero movies and all this stuff, it's cool to see a real life superhero. He was like, Captain America had to have a super serum in order to give him superpowers. But this is a LeBron super serum to give him superpowers. Guys, stop justifying cheating. Please, let's not make this a generational thing where a whole generation justifies cheating. Don't do it, man. If one dude can take steroids, everybody should be able to take steroids. And then at that point, we go, why are we all taking steroids? Let's just all stop. And then we get back to where we've been.
Who could, if they said it, would have the black trucks at their door within the day. But that said, there
clutch.
are some clues
That's why I'm watching my words, man.
Too convincing to just wave off.
Want to see a level playing field. They want to see the athletes performing at their best, but they don't want to see athletes that are just performing based on who has the best pharmacological advantage or the best doctor that's giving them drugs in order to perform better. And
exactly. Quick interruption, because then it becomes pay to win. And professional sports are already way more pay to win than they've ever been in history. You know, like real quick, a lot of NBA players and professional. It's not just that. I have a friend in gymnastics too. And a lot of professional sports now. It's no longer the cool story about like the poor kid who rose, who found their way out of the bad neighborhood and got into professional sports. Now it's the rich kid who their parents were able to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for their development when they were young to get into all these different camps and all these different programs that all cost a ton of money just to get a chance at having exposure to get to the pro leagues. So that poor kid that came from the poor neighborhood doesn't have a shot in hell to get out there. So that's already bad enough. But now if you add another layer of pay to win to that, which in other words, even if I'm good enough to get recognized, I'm not good enough to last in a professional sport unless I can jack myself up with a ton of steroids. It becomes like you said, who has the better connections for these substances and who can get the most and the highest quality substances. These end up being the best athletes that we're supposed to look up to. I don't think so. It just doesn't work that way. Like that's not something to aspire to be. And with professional athletes throughout history, the average person like me and you, we can aspire to be that if they're natural, That's the inspiration. That's what makes professional sports so cool. People doing what we can't, but we believe we could if we devoted ourselves to it the way they did.
So, reduces sport to, just pure entertainment.
Yes.
And although there's an entertainment value behind sport, I think sport is more meaningful than that. And both athletes and fans deserve to see, a level playing field and healthy athletes out there.
Yeah.
The NBA explicitly bans over 200 compounds.
Like, could you imagine being in high school or something and, you can't get on the college team or you can't get picked in the NBA unless you're going to jack up and, gain like an extra 30 pounds of solid muscle. And the only way to do that at that age is to jack up a bunch of PEDs in your system. That's a tough situation. I feel bad for kids who have to deal with these kind of decisions, especially that young.
From coke to tramadol, a severe pain medication that got Bobby Portis suspended 25 games a few years back. Among those are a host of peptides and steroids that stimulate the production of testosterone, as well as other compounds that augment performance.
You can imagine that if you're taking an anabolic steroid, well, it may not just help you improve your strength and power, say in the weight room, or make your muscles more effective, but it also may help of preventing fatigue. Other performance enhancing drugs may help you with your endurance and allow you to play longer on that field of play, or it may help you recover between games.
Despite there being a host
That's a big one, yeah. Recover between games.
Drugs that are banned from the NBA. With the thousands of players that have came and went since the NBA started testing in 1999, there have only been 13 players caught using them. Now, does that mean that
Joakim Noah? Drug deal. Lagandrol? Peptide. Ayton. Okay, didn't Ayton just get caught again last year? Doing something? These drug names, man. Turkoglu, methanolone, OJ Mayo.
there have been 13 players in the existence of the NBA to ever use them? Well,
Lindsey Hunter, okay.
Let's think logically. In an endeavor that poses direct financial incentive to better performance, less than 0.6% of them have used them to better their performance.
Okay.
Let's turn our attention now to the 2011 Track and Field World Championships. Out of the 440 athletes who competed, just 2 tested positive for PEDs, which just happens to be 0.5%, which is about the same for the NBA. But now here's the kicker. In a study commissioned by the World Anti-Doping Agency, the athletes that competed in the 2011 Worlds were given an anonymous survey that compelled them to admit whether or not they'd used PEDs, and 43.6% of them said that they had. This isn't an anomaly either. In 1985, before PED testing existed in American sports leagues, there was a Sports Illustrated article that detailed the rampant use of steroids in the NFL at the time. In the article, estimates from players that were interviewed on the percentage of players that did PEDs in the NFL ranged from 40 to 90%. It wasn't just hearsay either. In a study that interviewed over 2,500 former NFL players in the early 2000s, 9.1% of them admitted to using anabolic steroids during their career. And that number rose to 20% for players that played in the 80s. Now, the NBA started testing for PEDs in 1987 and suspending players in 1989. Since then, there have been 250 player suspensions from the NFL for PEDs. Major League Baseball, of course, was also busted in a big way in the 2000s.
And before any of this, the bodybuilding scene, whether you consider that a sport or not, whatever, like the bodybuilding scene went through a huge wave of this. The only difference was like they didn't hide it. You know, like they were never shy about it. There just weren't any regulations to stop it back then. So, you know, Mr. Schwarzenegger, Arnie would tell stories about like them, like, you know, taking their steroids together. You know what I mean? They're all like hanging out, talking, laughing, lifting weights together. And, you know, like this was not a bad thing back then for that sport. This was just considered normal.
That all said, it's safe to say that not everyone is getting caught. Why?
Well, what keeps me up at night, and one of the challenges that we're seeing in the use of doping substances is you can imagine that if you're taking a synthetic steroid, for example, if that steroid doesn't occur naturally in our bodies, then that's going to be relatively easy to detect. But what some athletes are doing now is they're actually using substances that our bodies produce naturally and using more of those synthetic substances in order to enhance their performance. So a good example of that is a blood boosting drug called EPO. So EPO is erythropoietin. It's used by endurance athletes. It's actually been developed as a drug, so it's used to treat ill people that maybe can't produce red blood cells. But starting in the 90s, this drug was came out onto the market, and even before it was on the market, it was being used by cyclists and other endurance athletes to dope.
In 2012,
Is that what Lance did?
ESPN put out a story where the World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA, called out the NBA for its, quote, gaps in PED testing. During the doping scandal that embroiled baseball, David Stern was called to testify before Congress, where he declared in a statement that illicit substances that could assist athletes in strength sports or endurance sports are not likely to be of benefit to NBA players.
Why?
Largely because of this reasoning, and the public's conviction that NBA players were clean. The NBA's
Sorry, I'm a big fan of David Stern, but I disagree with that wholeheartedly. 100% disagree. Of course, it'll give you an advantage. Also, makes me wonder if he was educated on the different types of steroids, because not every steroid means you're going to be a block of muscle, like we're learning here. And actually, guys, give Kip a like. This is an awesome video, man.
Doping tests had gaps. The MLB and NFL weren't as bad, according to WADA, but still not as strong as they would have liked. At the time, there had been 4 NBA players that had been caught with substances that could be classified as performance enhancers. Okay. And 2 of them were from Darius Miles and Lindsey Hunter taking a mid-2010s version of Ozempic. The other 2 were Rashard.
Okay. So the goal was to lose weight, probably?
Lewis.
Hold on.
And Lindsey Hunter taking a mid-2010s
diet pills. Okay, that's it. Over-the-counter diet pills, and blah blah blah. Primarily used for weight loss. Okay, would that? I get that's a banned substance, but I could that be considered a performance enhancer? A drug that helps you lose weight? I guess. I never thought about it that way though.
Version of Ozempic. The other 2 were Rashard Lewis, who took an over-the-counter pill, and OJ Mayo, who drank it. The other 2 were Rashard Lewis, who took
late last season substance he did not realize was banned. Okay, so we don't know what that one is.
An over-the-counter pill, and OJ Mayo, who drank a gas station energy
drink. What? It also, guys, did we ever find out what Paul George did wrong? Like he said he was taking like some psych meds or something like that, and something got him flagged in a drug test. Remember when he got suspended last season, you guys? I never heard a follow-up to that or an explanation to what he did wrong. And how OJ Mayo gonna drink an energy drink? Would he drink a Monster energy drink and he got flagged? Flagged for what? Like what? What's going on? Too much caffeine? Too much sugar?
Drink. They were all suspended 10 games. For all intents and purposes,
Too much B12?
Like NBPA President Billy Hunter proclaimed in 2012,
I firmly believe that the use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs is virtually non-existent, and I quote, non-existent in the NBA.
But that's not what Derrick Rose thought. In 2011, ESPN the magazine asked several professional athletes how big illegal enhancing was in their sport on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being everyone's juicy. D. Rose was one of the players who was asked, and he said 7. It's huge, and I think we need a level playing field where nobody has that advantage over the next person. Shortly after the article was published,
7 out of 10 means he probably saw it on his own team. Like, you know what I mean? Because no way he would be that confident to say something that bold, like 7 out of 10, if he hasn't seen it himself, you know?
D. Rose came out
for me, I could be suspicious, but I can't say 7 out of 10 like that. I haven't seen it with my own eyes.
Said in a statement released through the Bulls. Regarding the quote attributed to me in ESPN the magazine, I do not recall making the statement, nor do I recall the question being asked. If that was my response to any question, I clearly misunderstood what was asked of me. But let me be clear, I do not believe there is a performance-enhancing drug problem in the NBA.
Wow, who knocked on your door, man? Who made you say this? This is not his quote. I mean, you know what I mean, guys. This is like a publicist, you know, or... Wow. Yeah. That doesn't read like Derrick Rose to me. Not one bit.
Okay.
He got in trouble. Later. He got shadow banned too.
If there was a drug problem, we get tested 4 times, so it'd definitely show up or something. There's definitely not a drug problem in the NBA. Former NBA player John Sally on an all-encompassing
guys, I mean, a lot of this comes down to, in my opinion, is it's just like how people have found out how to like counterfeit the US dollar over and over and over again. So the new method comes out, and in this scenario would be the new drug comes out. Okay, maybe a year or two later, the NBA will catch on to, oh, this is a new one. Okay, we got to start testing for this. Cool. By that point, we're off to the next drug. Okay, we're off to the next drug, and so you get another like 1 to 2 years of using the new drug until the NBA catches on again. You know what I mean? So that's why I use that analogy, because you could always get ahead of this if you pay attention and don't just try to use the same substance year after year after year. And that's the biggest problem I see to actually stopping this. Like, I want to see every method, every effort we can into stopping this. But I do fear that, the exploiters are always going to be one step ahead of the enforcers.
DJ Vlad TV was asked about D Rose's initial quote.
Did he know what it was?
Later on, he said, I do not recall making the statement, nor do I recall the question being asked. If that was my response to any question, I clearly misunderstood what was asked of me.
Yeah, because he didn't know what it was.
Okay.
Henry Abbott, the reporter who published a story on WADA for ESPN, and the head of ESPN's
What does he mean by that? What did Sally mean by that?
Digital team from 2014 to 2019, said otherwise.
I think he was telling the truth. Of course he was. Like, what? Explain to me. It's just impossible for me to imagine the thought process by which a player would have a whoopsie responding to a journalist about how many out of 10 concern they have about doping in the NBA, right?
And their whoopsie moment was like an honest moment. You can tell it's them talking. And then their oops, I made a mistake statement came off like AI wrote it. Actually, it was drier than how AI would write something, because nowadays AI has more personality than whatever robot wrote that statement for him.
Like, everybody knew he was telling the truth, right? And then, the walk it back, well, that's where the real story is, right? The scandals in the cover up, right? Like, who calls Derrick to say that he's wrong about the game that he plays for a living?
The next question
welcome to the world, you guys. Welcome to the world. This is how it is. That's why I preface this video with the shadow ban talk. In this world, if you're too honest or too honest about certain things, you get punished, man. It's just how it is. It's so sad, but it is how it is. And whether that means you got to take down a video off of your YouTube channel like me, or you have to make a public statement like Derrick Rose had to do in here, and basically say, I was confused. I did not know what I was talking about. My bad. It's so obvious, yet so many people don't want to accept it, that there are layers of truth that we don't get access to, because everybody who tries to reveal it, they get buried.
I'd Ask Sally was about George Karl, former coach of the Denver Nuggets, who, in his book Furious George, accused players of taking PEDs, despite, I should say, not having any concrete evidence, which he admits.
Sorry. It's obvious some of our players are doping. How are some guys getting older yet thinner and fitter? How are they recovering from injuries so fast? Why the hell are they? Yeah, I'm with you with that statement, man. Yeah. Aging is a natural thing. You're supposed to get older. Can you stay in shape? Absolutely. But are you going to be, are you going to be in your physical prime in your 40s? No, you're not.
Obvious some of our players are doping. How are some guys getting older, yet thinner and fitter? How are they recovering from injuries so fast? Why the hell are they going to Germany?
Yeah, you're looking good, Sally, but you're not going to be running up and down that court for 40 minutes anymore. I guarantee you.
In the off season, I doubt it's for the sauerkraut. More likely, it's for the newest, hard to detect blood boosters and PEDs they have in Europe. Unfortunately, drug testing has always been a couple of steps behind the drug hiding.
By the way, for those of you who were watching my gaming videos back when I was doing those, and those of you who cared and who were invested, down 32 pounds. I still got a long way to go, but down 32 pounds in 90 days. I'm not quitting.
That's Armstrong.
But even after I do it, I'm not going to be running up and down the basketball court full court anymore. Like, come on, man. I know. Age is age, and I'm not taking any substances to do any of this stuff.
Drug testing has always been a couple of steps behind the drug hiding. Lance Armstrong never failed a drug test. I think we want the best athletes to succeed, not the biggest, richest cheaters employing the best scientists. But I don't know what to do about it.
Okay. It should be, the best athletes. not the athletes with the best scientists win. Absolutely agreed with George.
I love George. But this is the deal. One, when you went to Germany, you get PRP where they take your blood out, spin it, oxidize it, put it back into the joint area, helping healing faster. For you not to want science to do greatness on keeping this unbelievable avatar going, you're crazy. If you're not hurting anybody, you should do that.
Real quick, just because I have experience with this exact thing. When I tore my meniscus and I still had to keep working at the restaurant day after day, in other words, 12, 13 hours on my feet, like no mercy. I was getting treatment, a PRP treatment to basically give my knee enough power to get through these days. It didn't actually heal until after I was done. However, PRP, absolutely. I'm an advocate for it as long as it's legit and it's not against any rules. And according to my brother at that time, PRP, there was no problem with that when it comes to the NBA or professional sports, because they're literally taking your own blood, and I believe they're taking your blood from a healthy spot in your body. So for me, it was like a shoulder or whatever, and then they would spin it, separate the gunk out of it, and inject that into your injury point, which was my knee, my meniscus at that point. I don't see anything unnatural about this process. So I think Sally might be wrong here, because I believe PRP is totally legal when it comes to the NBA.
They wouldn't say anything if Tom Cruise took steroids. They didn't say anything with Sylvester Stallone would take steroids.
But they're not actual professional athletes. Well, Arnie was, but he was taking steroids.
Arnold Schwarzenegger would have taken steroids if it's to keep them to entertain people. They really don't care about us. So whatever you have to do, or whatever you do to maintain your ability, as Ocho Cinco's saying, the ability to provide, because that's the most unbelievable stress, you should do it. And if other guys are not up on the new joints, they lose.
Make of that what you will.
Damn. Like the saddest thing that he said there, in my opinion, was him talking about it just being for the sake of entertainment. How they have to keep their bodies going in order to entertain us. So are we just there? Are we at that point where it's no longer sport and it's just entertainment? Because if it's just entertainment, I guess I don't care. But then I won't care about the game at all. You know what I mean? Like if I have to let go to that point where I no longer care if people are cheating, then I don't care about the outcome. I don't care who wins anymore. If it's just me, like, so if I'm just supposed to disconnect my brain and just watch like a drone, I'm not there for that. I'm not here for that. So that's really disturbing to hear how he talked about that right there. Anyways, you know what, guys? I'm realizing through this, like, I have a lot to say about this. I always have a lot to say about cheating. I do. It's just who I am. That being said, I'm gonna hold off on the rest of this until tomorrow. I'm gonna do a part 2 of this because I don't want this to be like an hour and a half video, because I feel like we're heading that route. So instead, we'll do two pretty long videos here back to back, and because I just started having a thought of like, I should talk less, I should react less in this, because this is the time is going too long. But I don't want to actually do that. I want to be able to talk as much as I want to without having to worry about the time. So with that being said, guys, like the video, please get into comments here. There's so much to talk about just in this one half that I would really love it if we have a conversation about this first half and what you guys have learned, and some of those questions I had. Hopefully some of you guys have some of those answers to put in the comments, and we'll be back for part 2 and we'll do it all over again. All right, you guys? Because thank you so much for watching. Like the vid, hype the vid, all that good stuff. Subscribe, hit that bell if you want to get notified for the next one, which will be tomorrow morning, and we'll keep this rocking. All right, guys, be water, my friends.